today. Should Catalonia be independent from Spain? I'm Femi Okay.
Separatists say they're going ahead with a referendum on that very question, a vote the Spanish government has said is illegal. I'm Malika Bilal, and you're in the stream.
In the latest twist in a high-stakes confrontation between Spain's central government and its prosperous Catalonia region, the government has summoned more than 700 Catalan mayors it says are supporting an attempt to hold an independence referendum. Catalan leaders insist they have a right to hold a vote on whether they should break away from Spain.
If a citizen has a problem with justice and justice pursues him, this person has a problem. But when more than 712 mayors are persecuted by justice, then it is not the mayors who have a problem, but the Spanish justice system itself. It is the Spanish justice system that has a problem.
Authorities are seizing ballot boxes and conducting searches of print shops and individuals across Catalonia thought to be producing political material. The Spanish government has strenuously objected to the vote.
This referendum, which is intended to be imposed in a hasty, shoddy, and illegal way, will not be held. There will not be an autodetermination referendum because that involves depriving citizens in the whole country from their right to decide their future. As you might understand, neither the government nor the courts can tolerate that under any circumstances.
Bajo ningún concepto.
Today, we're joined by a panel of Catalans to discuss the independence movement. In Barcelona, Alfred Bosch is a Barcelona city councillor with the Republican Left Party and a former member of parliament. In Menorca, Enrique Martinez is an anti-independence activist. And Sonia is a lecturer in international politics and security at the University of Barcelona. It's good to have you here, guests. Welcome.
Alfred, I want to start with you because we're getting pictures from members of our community of an event happening right now, Thursday evening. This is from ANC International. Full house for the start of the Yes campaign at Tarragona. That's a city in the region of Catalonia. It's a kickoff event to launch this referendum campaign. You see another picture here, really excited people. And it comes just a few days after September 11th, the day that the region marks as its national day, and where an estimated hundreds of thousands of people filled the streets of Barcelona. This is what Mark says about that day. When you can get 1+ million people, he says, in the street, your voice at least deserves to be heard. Alfred, what are those voices calling for?
Well, the voice that needs to be heard is the voice.
You see, we're calling for democracy. One of the most outstanding aspects of this process in Catalonia is that the drive for independence has now become a drive for democracy. Because when you have a Spanish government which is not allowing, wants to ban the vote, which is banning websites, the Spanish government which is banning rallies and political information, and which tries to prosecute 712 mayors, which is 75% of the mayors in our country. That government seems to have turned crazy. And there's a moral question behind that. The moral question is, do we have the right to vote about our future, yes or not? We think we do, and that's the main issue right now. It's no longer whether you're in favor of independence or not. Obviously, the referendum is for those who are for and those who are against, for those who want to vote yes and those who want to vote no. So the issue now is, how has the government of Spain turned so crazy?
Enrique?
Well, democracy. What is democracy? Democracy is a community of people living together, working together, cooperating, working for union, for solidarity, for peace, for friendship. That's democracy. Democracy is also respecting the rules of engagement, the rules of participation. That's democracy. And in terms of morality, morality is having all citizens being equal, without first-class citizens and second-class citizens, as we are suffering in Catalonia for nearly 40 years now. That's democracy. Democracy is therefore rules of equality, freedom, solidarity, and union. That's democracy. And I would like to highlight that I'm here, I am a lecturer, a university professor, a lecturer of political science and sociology, but today I'm here participating on behalf of Catalans for Law and Sanity. Catalanes por la ley y el sanity.
Let me show our audience, Sonia, I hear you. Let me just show our audience what Enrique does pretty much every Wednesday, which is, have a look here on my laptop here. That banner says, Spanish government implement and reinforce the Constitution, Article 155 now. So basically, Enrique is protesting and rallying for Spain to stay unified. Sonia, what did you want to say? Go ahead.
The Constitution to be enforced.
I hear that. Sonia, go ahead.
I wanted to say that I'm guessing that Enrique, as a fellow colleague of university, is aware that democracy is not just what he mentioned. Democracy, it's also a way of ruling ourselves as societies, and therefore it's not something it's not movable. Any social construction has to adapt to new times, to new societies. Things evolve along time, and therefore if a law or a legislation or legal framework is not coherent with a particular society, it should be moved and it should be able to be discussed and changed. And that is what has not happened.
Yeah. So, Sonia, give us an example of that, because I don't want this to become a general conversation about democracy. So you are making very pointed remarks. Give us the example.
So what I'm trying to say is there was a beginning for this conflict.
Obviously,
Should I continue, Alfred?
Yeah,
just 1 second.
Please do continue. Alfred will be with you in a moment.
There was a beginning for this conflict where the conflict was clearly political. And the Spanish government, right then, they had a momentum where they could have solved it by political means. Now, by standing immovable and just saying no to everything, the other side kept moving along, kept moving forward, and kept developing new strategies, new mechanisms. Now, it all keeps being very asymmetric because one side is state and the other one is a non-state actor, but it has reached a point right now where both sides have no other solution. One side, which is the pro-independence movement, is to keep going until it's possible, because there's no more solution from the other side. And from the Spanish point of side, it's we have a legislation and we're just going to stick to that. And therefore, we keep being in that position where the debate, we move it to where we want it to be, which is about legacy and about rule of law and the state of law, which is what Enrique is calling.
Right.
And that's why it's like speaking on different levels and no one is being able to communicate.
We want equality. We want equality of all Spaniards.
Yes, I'm sorry, but yes, this is an issue related to democracy, obviously, because I'm very much with Thomas Jefferson when he said that the world belongs to the living, and it belongs to living citizens, and they have their rights. So they have citizens have the right to decide about their own environment, political environment, obviously. And when Enrique talks about the law, let me remind Enrique first of one thing, that we're struggling also for him, for his right to vote no to independence. We're also fighting for that, for the yes and for the no. So he's free to choose any of the two options. And that's what we have to stress. It really is about freedom, and it really is about democracy. There's so much democracy in the air. There's too much democracy in this country, thanks to the people. Too much democracy to be stopped.
Guest, let me just play this to you. Guest, hold tight for a moment. Just take a pause for a moment. I want to introduce you to a person called Gunter Darwin. He's from the European Free Alliance. So after the regional elections in Catalonia back in 2015, this is what he said. Quite provocative, or is it? Have a listen.
Quebec flag, Flemish flag, Catalan flag, Basque flag from Navarra, Basque Coruña, Wales, Scotland, Bretagne, Galicia, and we want Catalonia to be free. It's up to the Catalans to decide that, but we think they at least have the right to do so. And Spain so far has only said no, no, no.
Sonia, there are some practicalities about Catalonia breaking away from the rest of Spain. Let me just show you on my laptop here. Here is Spain. Right here, this is the Catalonia region. I'm sure all of you will know an amazing city called Barcelona. Sonia, in a nutshell, very briefly, how did this conversation about Catalonia breaking away from Spain, how did it get started?
Wow, in a nutshell, I would say there are many historical reasons, cultural reasons, but the current conflict started mainly because of an economic discussion about how central Spain redistributes the taxes. That was the very, very beginning. That has widened. Along these 10 years, I would say it has now become a much more inclusive discourse. And it's about a form of state. It's a discussion about political organization. So it has enriched, although not as much as many would like. And I understand what Enrique is saying. The pity is because the debate about the pros and cons has never taken place, because one side kept saying it will never happen. You will never be able to decide. And therefore, the arguments that Enrique were just saying, which are very legitimate, have not been listened in the same portion than the pro-independence ones, because from the non-independence sector, the messages they send to their potential electors or voters are just say no. And we're not giving the reasons why you should stay. So the whole debate has never actually happened. And people who might be in favor of the no don't really have all the information, and people who are in favor of the yes, in my opinion, there's still a lot more information that they would need to have before voting, and this has just not been able to happen.
So Enrique, I hear you trying to get in there. I wanted to play a video comment from someone who is talking about the fact that, yes, October 1st is coming up, but what we're seeing now is something we haven't seen before from the government and how the government is reacting to this potential referendum. This is a video comment from Albert out of Catalonia. Have a listen.
The Spanish government is trying to do two different strategies. The first one, they're trying to block, to impede the referendum by using their strength. So they banish the referendum, they ban the referendum. They are chasing even the ballot boxes. They are threatening politicians and companies that are necessary to hold the referendum. But if they not succeed on stopping it, then they have the second strategy, which is by using all these strategies about fear, about chasing, about other things, about their strength, about persecuting people, then they will, they hope that the participation is not going to reach 50% of the population.
So Enrique calls that strategy of potentially criminalizing mayors, telling people that they cannot hold this vote as a policy of fear. Have a look here at my laptop. This is a tweet from ANC Ireland, as someone who is supporting this call for independence, Spanish police and the Catalan people. And they show a cartoon there, a political cartoon. And these are all of the people, presumably, who want independence, and they're all being rounded up into this police car. Enrique, what do you make of these tactics? And do you think that they represent fear on the part of the government, the Spanish government?
That picture is very funny, very funny. Look, Sonia a moment ago was talking about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is basic. It's a basic for democracy. Without freedom of speech, without the possibility that everyone has the same voice, there is no democracy. And in Catalonia, for the last 40 years, we have suffered from the lack of freedom of speech. For half of the population, it is denied that we have the right to speak. So I'm so thankful to Al Jazeera that they offer us the possibility to express. We are the half of the population that has been silent for so long because they don't give us any space at the public sphere. So thanks a lot Al Jazeera for giving us the possibility to express our feelings. How we feel. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry. I've been.
Please let me go back. Let me go back to the truth and let me go back to reality, please, because this is unacceptable. What we have to say, as you know Barcelona, probably many of you. It's an open city, it's a free city, it's a tolerant city. Nothing of what Enrique is telling really adapts or really responds to reality.
Enrique, we have a delay with Alfred, so just hold tight for a moment.
Country.
It's a lot of supremacy, a lot of supremacism in Barcelona, a lot of racism against
I just wanted to say...
No.
Sonia, hold tight. Alfred, hold tight. I just need to get Enrique's attention. Alfred, just give me a moment. Enrique, I need your attention for a moment. Sure. Enrique, we have a gap and a delay between you and Alfred. Can you just give me a moment? I want to hear what he has to say. And then by all means, come back to him. Alfred, go ahead.
Yes, let's go back also to truth. Let's go back to reality. Who's menacing city mayors? 712, 75% of the mayors in this country. Who's actually closing down websites? Who's chasing the press? It's the Spanish government. Let's be very realistic about this, and you can hear the news all the time from Al Jazeera, other global networks explaining what's been happening right now. So that's what's happening. And let me say something else, because Enrique is talking about law. Now, of course, we are people of law. We are orderly people. If you visited Barcelona or Catalonia, you will know that we are hard-working, prosperous people, and we are free and democratic in all regards. And we respect the law, obviously, but laws have to change. And the laws about segregation and the laws about discrimination of women, they all changed. So we also have to change the laws here because we think they're not fair. And look, when the Spanish police go to close down a website, the people gather around the Spanish police, and do you know what they do? They don't insult, they don't shout, they don't enter into any kind of hostile behavior. They just give him flowers. They chant songs and they give him flowers. That's the kind of people we have. Okay. And it's so free, Alfred, so democratic, and such a happy people that it's unfair to paint it in any other way.
All right, so Alfred and Enrique and Sonia, I want to play a little clip of a Spanish gentleman called Rafael Nadal. Everybody knows who he is. He's a tennis player. He almost needs no introduction. This is him on September the 13th talking about the Catalonia situation. Have a listen to his take.
I feel like all Spaniards should feel worried because there's a conflict that needs to be resolved. And at the moment, the solution seems complicated, or at least not friendly. Let's hope things can be fixed. Like I have said many times, I feel very close to Catalonia. I obviously feel Spanish, and as I understand, Catalonia is part of Spain. I don't see Spain without Catalonia, or at least I wouldn't like to see one without it. We are better and stronger together than separate, and I hope we can remain like that forever.
Sonia, outside of Catalonia, if you could take the temperature of what Spanish people are thinking about this bid to get a referendum, what would you say?
I'll try my best not to comment on things that have gone by like a few minutes ago.
Yes, good.
So I'll try to answer
Going forward,
your question.
Not back.
I lived in Madrid, as you know, because last time we had here an opportunity at the stream, I was in Madrid. I lived in Madrid for almost 4 years. I think that there's no part of violating the freedom of speech in any side. I've been in Madrid. You're able to speak. I've been obviously in Barcelona. You're able to speak. No sides are silent. It's different if media give different portion of quota of being live on TV to the type of
Sonia, you're avoiding my
position.
question. Outside of Catalonia.
No, I'm not. I think in Spain, there's a plurality of, I think there's more people than we think that are in favor of self-determination because they see it as legitimate. But the way it's now being handled by Catalonian political, at the parliament, has really, really worried many people in Spain, and it's now being taken as a huge offense to the rule of law.
Okay, let's get some more of our community in. Malika, go ahead.
So we just got this tweet just a couple minutes ago from Walid, and I'll give it to you, Alfred. Walid says, what does Catalan independence have in common with Brexit, if any? So let's fast forward. Let's say the referendum happens, it passes, there's independence on the table, Alfred. The European Union has already said that Catalonia would have to reapply for EU membership. Is that something that you're keeping in mind for the future?
Yeah, today President Juncker from the European Union said that they would consider any result, and they will obviously respect the result of the referendum. Now that's great news, because we actually want to do exactly the opposite to what Brexit meant for the United Kingdom. We want to remain in the European Union. In fact, we are European. We're not just going to drift away from the European continent. We will stay there. And we think it's in the interest of everybody, especially in a common market, not to lose 7.5 million producers, consumers, and net contributors to the European market. So we're positive that whatever happens, and if there's an independent Catalan republic, this will be settled, and this will be solved in a satisfactory way for everybody, even for Spanish people, like Spanish companies, who want to keep trading with Catalonia. Obviously, we're in the 21st century, we're an open, democratic society, it's a free market,
However,
and we want to keep it that way.
Right.
So we're very positive about that.
All right, guess I have something for you. Let me just show you something that the Guardian newspaper reported on a little while ago. Catalan ex-president Artur Mas barred from holding public office. Not just him, but the vice president, the education minister for Catalonia, they're all barred from holding public office. There's so much pressure on Catalans not even being able to have a referendum. What about the debate about referendum issues? Is that debate even able to happen? Enrique?
Thanks. You see what's going on in all Europe. You see the Brexit, you see we are also witnessing the Grexit and the Grexit process, and we see that in all Europe, racism, discrimination is going up. We are just in favor of democracy, just the other way around, in favor of union of people, of their solidarity, of peace, of brotherhood. That's what we want. We want equality, equality for all. We don't want apartheid anymore. We have suffered in Catalonia for nearly 40 years. We don't want apartheid anymore. We want just equality. We want more integration, more people together. Yeah? That's what we want.
What I keep hearing from you wonderful arguments in favor of no, in favor of staying, which are absolutely legitimate. But you're not saying reasons against why Catalans should not decide, which is the debate now.
Without any trumps, respecting the rules of the game. We play the game with a clean heart. That's still important. Otherwise, there is no democracy. Otherwise, there is no democracy. If there is people.
May I say something?
Let me add something about the rules of the game. Let me add something there, please. Let me add something because.
Okay, so Alfred, Enrique, and Sonia, since you're all speaking, I'm going to put in one more voice. This is via video comment. This is Rafael. Have a listen to what he told the stream.
We in Spain have a very good political community. We are a modern country, a democratic country, a country that is a part of the European Union, a country that takes part in international organizations. Spain has a long history that in some ways it was not good, but now we are, as we ever wanted, a modern European country and a very important part of the European Union. All these things will be put in risk with the secessionist movement.
Sonia, of course, he's a secession opponent.
But again, it's wonderful. But I think many of us would agree that we wish we could have listened
Sonia,
to these
Enrique,
voices.
Alfred, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Obviously, this debate will go on and on. #AJStream to be continued. Take care, everybody.